1 minute. It is now 9:30. The Bradford County Board of County Commissioner meeting, our public hearing, and our meeting is now called to order. We will have the invocation pledge that believe led to us by Commissioner Reddy.
All right, let's pray. Our Father in heaven, Father, we just thank you so much for another day of life. Thank you, Father, for blessing each and every one of us in this room. And Father, I thank you for the rain that's finally coming this way. I just pray you will send us a lot of rain. And Father, too, I just thank you so much for this past weekend, dear Lord, where we celebrated Easter, where we celebrated the death, burial, and resurrection of our Savior, Jesus Christ. I thank you so much, Father, that you did come out of that tomb. You're not like any of the other false prophets. You are the one true God. And Father, we thank you so much for that. Father, as we come into this meeting this morning, dear Lord, there's a lot of people in this room. I pray you have your hand upon each and every one of them. I pray, dear Lord, that we have good discussions. And I pray for this board, dear Lord, please help us to make the best and right decisions for all the people in Bradford County. Thank you for everything you do for us. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all for being here today. At this time, we will begin our public hearing for zoning changes, and I believe I saw Miss Alicia Dye that is here. All right, our attorney will read it first.
All right. An ordinance of Bradford County, Florida, amending ordinance 96-07, Bradford County Land Development Regulations as amended, related to an amendment to the official zoning atlas of Bradford County Land Development Regulations, as amended pursuant to application number Z25-05, submitted by the property owner of said acreage, provided for rezoning from agriculture -2A2 and commercial to industrial I of certain lands within the unincorporated limits of Bradford County, Florida, providing severability, repealing all ordinances in conflict, and providing an effective date.
Thank you. And at this time, we'll receive any public comments, if there should be any. Okay. Seeing and hearing none, we'll close this public hearing and ask for a motion from our board, motion for approval from the board.
I will make a motion to approve the ordinance as read.
Okay, a motion by Commissioner Doherty.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Reddy. Any other further discussion or questions? If not, all in favor by sign aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? 5-0. Okay. Second public hearing.
Yes, ma'am. An ordinance of Bradford County, Florida, amending ordinance 96-07, Bradford County Land Development Regulations as amended, related to an amendment to the official zoning atlas of the Bradford County Land Development Regulations as amended, pursuant to application number Z25-06, submitted by the property owner of said acreage, providing for rezoning from agriculture -2A2 to industrial I of certain lands within the unincorporated limits of Bradford County, Florida, providing severability, repealing all ordinances in conflict, and providing an effective date.
Now we'll receive any public comments, if there be any, for this change. Seeing none, hearing none, we'll now close this and we'll ask for a motion from our board for approval as read.
I make a motion that ordinance 9607 be approved as read.
Okay. Motion by Commissioner Andrews, is a second to the motion. Second by Commissioner Thompson. Any other further questions or discussion? If not, all in favor by the sign aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? 5-0. The third item, the enactment of the ordinance first reading.
Yes, ma'am. An ordinance of the Board of County Commissioners of Bradford County, Florida, amending the purchasing policy, specifically Chapter 2-Administration, Article 4-Purchasing Procedures, Sections 2-151 through 2-172 of the Bradford County Code of Ordinances, and providing an effective date. And this is a first reading, Madam Chair.
At this time, are there any public comments?
We'll open a public hearing, ma'am,
Yes.
and then, yes, ma'am, thank you.
Any comments? Hearing none, seeing none. Okay. And since this is our first reading,
We'll close the public hearing, Madam Chair, and if there's not any discussion, if there is discussion, we can have it right now. If not, we'll have a second reading at the next meeting.
okay, at this time, the public hearing is closed. Thank you.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I just have a question for the county manager. This was just in the event of emergencies, is that correct?
There were several a few changes in the purchasing policy. But one of the main ones was the local preference issue that we wanted to change. And then also in a state of emergency, there was some, not having to do with purchase orders, not requiring purchase orders if a state of emergency is declared.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? We're good? All right. Thank you. And again, this was just our first reading. Now we're going to move on to the public comments, and just again, rules are you'll have 3 minutes, and when the buzzer sound, just, gracefully take your seat. State your name, your address, for the record, and address your comments to the board. Also, the board nor the staff would be making comments or replying to what you're commenting on today. We'll just ask you to refrain from any boisterous language, no profanity, no, rah-rah. And I appreciate all of you for the respect that you have shown in our previous meetings. And so, with that, our first person, did I get everyone's comment card? Okay. All right, we have Sage Sierra.
Hello. This is comments regarding the proposed detention center.
Can you state your?
Oh, sorry.
And if you forget, we can just flip around and we're just gonna have you state your name, your address for the record,
Yes.
and so forth, okay?
Sage Sierra, 1624 Northwest 94th Street, Gainesville, Florida. This is regarding the proposed detention center across from the Walmart on 301. This detention center will be a humanitarian disaster, an environmental disaster, and an economic disaster. Putting aside that the center amounts to a human cattle processing facility, there are significant concerns about chemical infiltration into the groundwater of the site. And whatever you think about greater environmental concerns like climate change, it should be clear that chemicals in the groundwater are an immediate concern for residents surrounding the site. And lastly, the economics simply don't make sense, and DHS still has not reimbursed Florida for the construction of Alligator Alcatraz, and can the county budget survive if the DHS stiffs Bradford County in a similar way? That is my comment.
Thank you. Next, we'll have Robin Frazier.
Robin Fraser, 14627 Southwest 155th Avenue in Brooker. As I look around this room, I'm aware that while I know who many of you are, hardly anyone who works here knows who I am. I don't want you to think I am not a valuable stakeholder in Bradford County. My husband and I moved to Bradford County in 1984, 42 years ago. Both our children were raised right here in Bradford County. They have attended Bradford County schools from kindergarten through 12th grade before moving on to higher education. I was a member of the Brooker Elementary PTA for the 4 years my children went to Brooker Elementary. My kids played t-ball in Brooker. Now my daughter and son-in-law have a baby of their own and will continue to live right here in Bradford County, where the cycle will begin again. I taught in Bradford County schools for 28 years. I was a Girl Scout leader in Bradford County for 15 years. My husband was a Boy Scout leader for 10 years, taking my son all the way to his Eagle Scout Award. I was a band booster for the Bradford Middle School, in the Bradford High School bands for a total of 7 years, working the concession stand every single football game for 5 of those years. I was a Bradford Education Association union member for all of my years in Bradford County and served as a union rep the last 5 years of my employment before I retired. I've been an active voter my entire life, never missed an election. My husband is a poll deputy in Precinct 13 and a precinct committee person with the DEC. And yes, I have protested on the side of the road right here in Bradford County because this is my home and always will be. I care about what happens here. It hurts my heart to think anyone is even thinking about putting an ICE detention center in my community. This isn't a right or left issue, this is a right or wrong issue. I have spoken with people on both sides of the political arena. This goes beyond politics. This is a moral issue. We cannot sell our souls for any amount of money. Bradford County is too precious a commodity to earn income on the backs of immigrants just trying to make a better life for themselves. Please don't soil our county with an ICE detention center. Whatever the benefits, it won't wipe out the stain of having a concentration camp in our community, right here as you enter Stark. We don't want this atrocity in our community. Just please say no. Not here, not in Bradford County. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, Maria Greer.
My name is Maria Gear and I live at 17245 Bradford Avenue in Brooker, Florida. Trichloroethylene is a carcinogenic solvent that was used in manufacturing to degrease parts until it was nationally banned in 2024. It is the main chemical that has polluted the area at the Douglas building property. Per the FDEP's September 2025 report on groundwater at the Douglas building, there is mention of trichloroethylene levels exceeding acceptable levels in the soil at the lower shallow zones. I personally know the dangers of trichloroethylene poses, as it nearly took my life in 1977. When I was working at a circuit board factory, the machine that cleaned the circuit boards broke down and my boss had me clean the boards by hand in a vat of trichloroethylene. Within 15 minutes, I was hallucinating, becoming incoherent, and passing out. I was rushed outside to fresh air, but given no medical care. I recovered, but I was young and ignorant of the danger I had just experienced. I've worked in other factories where trichloroethylene was more respected and treated as the toxic chemical it is. Trichloroethylene has been known to cause primarily kidney and liver cancer, with some studies showing cervical cancer, miscarriages, and fetal heart defects in women. Reduced sperm quality, low libido, and hormonal imbalances have been found in men. In 1995, I was diagnosed with cervical cancer, but I was one of the lucky ones. It was caught early and I was able to be surgically cured. Most women aren't as lucky as I was. I retired after spending 31 years as an oncology nurse, caring for people with cancer. Let me tell you, cancer is a cruel and arduous journey. I wish on no one. It is not only fraught with physical and emotional pain, but also a financial burden many patients and families cannot handle. Unless you have great insurance, many people cannot afford treatment. So to put people knowingly into a place that could put them at risk of developing cancer or having deformed children is unconscionable to me, and you should be ashamed for pushing this contaminated property forward. All the sheriff's deputies, federal ICE agents, other workers, and immigrants will all be taking the same risk if they are exposed. Please do your due diligence, because if somebody gets sick, I'm sure their lawyers will do theirs. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, Carol Mosley.
Carol Mosley, 10121 Southwest 104th Avenue in Graham. Good morning, Commissioners. A comment was made that we deal with facts here, not speculation. But everything is speculation until real facts emerge. We can speculate about alternative uses of the Douglas property, but it is moot until FDEP gets in there and gives us some facts about the levels of contamination. SABO can speculate about the probable costs of detaining immigrants, and the county can speculate that we will make billions of dollars. But the devil is hidden in the missing details, and there are still many. So how do we get from the public speculating outcomes to being provided with solid information on which to comment? By the county honestly and openly sharing detailed information with the public as soon as it becomes available. Honor records requests in a timely fashion, then you and we can deal with the facts. The fact is, there are known contaminants on the site. You need to be clear of the risks and potential liability. How in the world did the county end up seeking to take ownership of a property with known contamination? Were the risks of liability clearly weighed in advance? If I transfer a known contaminated piece of land to my neighbor, would I be legally responsible for any harm? Is SABO aware of the contamination problem? A month ago, I asked for any communications between staff and SABO since December 23, 2025. Is it possible that SABO came here in January with their request to move forward and yet give staff no update about their progress? According to their speculated timeline, we should be well informed by now of their progress with DHS. Are they still interested, or have they decided not to move further? How about you ask staff for an update? You need to weigh not only the facts, but the sentiment of the public as well. Your constituents deserve a personal response when they contact you individually. We need to know your perspective and understanding of a topic in order to do more research and bring you new information. We deserve your personal communication. Just document it. We come here to share information and concerns with you, the decision makers. The public needs assurance that you are well informed. We can't feel like you are afraid to speak with us, so please don't shut down personal lines of communication. Do not pass the buck on this responsibility, and please don't waste anyone's time by letting this drag on. Set everything aside until we get more facts from FDEP about what is even suitable on a property with known environmental and health contaminants. Don't jump over step one, the FDEP. The fact is, what they discover may turn out to be a determining factor of its own for future possible uses of the property. Once we have these environmental facts, then we can speculate on what to do with the property moving forward. Not until then. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we will have Maria Steinwalks.
Good morning. My name is Marie Steinwachs. Excuse me. I live at 626 State Road 26 in Melrose. I've been to several of these commission meetings since the idea of converting the Douglas building to an ICE detention facility was first introduced. The consultant that night showed us sketches of what looked like rows of dog kennels on concrete slabs with tents. He called it site improvement. To me, it very much resembled concentration camp. I found it appalling. The citizens of Stark and surrounding areas have spoken against locating an ICE facility here. We've raised valid concerns about the environmental contamination under the site, the impacts on water, sewer, traffic, as well as the incompatibility of the detention camp with surrounding subdivision and commercial district. Most eloquently, citizens have decried the immorality of a policy that is ripping immigrants from their workplaces, schools, and homes. For the overwhelming majority of ICE detainees, their crime is that they have not been granted full citizenship, a process that can take years, and the process keeps changing. Perhaps the unspoken crime they're accused of is having darker pigmented skin. People are being taken without due process, shackled, transported away to ICE facilities where conditions, abuses, and deaths are widely reported by multiple human rights groups and congressional investigations. Those who would seek to profit from this sort of treatment of other people, in my opinion, are selling their souls. And some folks are making pretty good money. Nice, big, no-bid contracts. They're being issued to several private firms. Oh, and the jailers could earn twice as much per inmate under ICE as under Florida corrections. But how is that benefiting the rest of us? Since last year, Florida has spent an estimated $850 million of taxpayer money that was earmarked for emergency response on 2 operating detention centers. No one can guarantee yet that the state will ever be reimbursed for it. It will cost an estimated $1.7 billion over the next 2 years to operate these facilities. Florida taxpayers could again be left with the tab. Please do the right thing, deny this facility, make Stark one of the growing numbers of communities all over the U.S. that are saying no to ICE. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, Mark Frazier.
I'm Mark Fraser. I live at 14627 Southwest 155th Avenue, Brooker, Florida. Recently, our sheriff talked about the serious ongoing funding challenges experienced by our county and the need to find ways to enhance revenues. I think it's important that we look at the big picture when it comes to funding sources for counties and local municipalities. In particular, what's happening at the state level. In a recent 80-30 vote, with all Republicans supporting and all but one Democrat opposing, the Florida House passed HJR 203, which eliminates non-school property taxes. It also prohibits local governments from reducing funding for law enforcement, firefighters, and first responders. In spite of the fact that property taxes are the primary funding source for these very services in Florida, local governments would be forced to find alternative sources for funding for these vital services. While the bill stalled in the Senate in March, it could resurface during the special session this month, and if passed, could be on the ballot this November. The Florida Policy Institute denounced the vote on this bill, stating, "Our state already has the most upside-down tax code in the nation," according to the Institute on Taxation and Economic Policy. The wealthiest Floridians pay the least in state and local taxes as a share of household income. Instead of addressing inequities in the tax code, this bill, along with other property tax reforms that Florida lawmakers are considering, would further entrench them. Florida lawmakers should only be considering tax relief that is targeted to people who need it the most, households, including renters with low to moderate incomes. At the same time, policymakers should be looking to new ways to raise revenues by closing corporate income tax loopholes or taxing transfers of high-value real estate. The Republican Party is trying to limit the ability of local governments to raise revenues for vital services like police, fire, and emergency services. Policies like this may incentivize local governments that are desperate for revenue to consider potentially devastating funding sources like phosphate strip mining and like detention centers for migrants. We can only hope that this November, Bradford County voters will remember on which side their bread is buttered. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, Diane Williams.
Good morning. Diane Williams, 1018 Palm Street, Stark. I don't have anything prepared this morning to say. Most every point has been addressed that I'm interested in, particularly the contaminated ground that scares me to death, because I'm well aware of how the Florida aquifers, the water table is so high that if that ground is disturbed and it starts leaching out from the area that it is, it's already been said that it can possibly go further. I don't live that far from there. And how far can it go? Is it going to be safe for the kids to be in the backyard or the animals or whatever? So that's a big concern. The fact that I still can't see where this is benefiting the residents of this town, the jobs, everything's temporary. The federal government's already cutting back on these things, so would we ever get reimbursed for anything? And the other big thing is the infrastructure, the power grid, the water. With this thing running 24/7, doubling the size of the city, almost doubling the size size of the city feasibly, if it's full, the number of people, 4,200 people, more utilizing our electricity, our water. So are our bills gonna go up? Are we gonna have brownouts? Who's gonna pay to upgrade all that to accommodate something very temporary? So I'll just reiterate everything everybody else has said. Totally oppose this coming here. I don't think it will help Stark at all. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, Bo Hastings.
Good morning, County Commissioners. My name is Bo Haston. I live in Stark, Florida. Y'all all know where I live. I'm for ICE. I'm not for where this facility, where they're wanting to put it at, across from our main shopping center. I mean, we get a bunch of buses hauled in here by a bunch of people from up north and cause chaos in our town. And they go to the Walmart and people get hurt. That's gonna be on your backs. And I think you should consider that. But as far as ICE, I'm for ICE. You know, our borders, we were invaded for 4 years with millions and millions and millions of people. And I hear people say, well, you know, they're our neighbors. Well, I tell you what, you see all the fraud going on? Take them to your house and you pay for them, because I'm tired of paying for them. I will let you know, the people that's here and you're speaking out, our commissioners do not listen to us. They can have 90% opposition. They're still gonna do what they wanna do, kind of like with that fire tax, when we were all told to skip a meal and they passed it anyway. I skipped a meal, I got them budgets and I'm going through them and I'm discovering stuff that's just absolutely disgusting. But no, this ICE facility shouldn't go here. And I heard the sheriff say the other day on a live interview on the local radio station, because my station wouldn't come in, so I went to the local, that he wants this here for the people that's retired from the prisons to get jobs. Make that one make sense, but it doesn't need to go across from our shopping center. I mean, there's got to be something in it. I would rather have the meth houses 2 doors down from me shut down before we get an ICE facility. Nothing ever happens. I don't understand it, but maybe they can do a job shutting down all the meth and drug houses and property stolen rings going on before we get an ICE facility here. That would be real nice for the residents that actually live here, because I have to deal with tweakers coming through my gate and me living alone by myself, and it's kind of scary. But as far as ICE, I'm for ICE. Yeah, they need to deport these people. Americans are being killed every day, and it's not right. When it can be avoided, and our borders could have been shut. All I can say is TDS is alive and well. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we'll have Stephen Weinkoff.
Hello, my name is Stephen Weinkoff, 8789 State Road 100 West, Stark, Florida. And I'm opposed to the ICE concentration camp in Stark. And hope everyone had a good Easter. And, you know, isn't it appropriate that we're all standing here talking about persecuting other people, with other people who have less than what we have, trying to get what we have. It's a misdemeanor to be in this country. Same as if we speed going down the road, it's a misdemeanor. Okay, Bradford County, how did we get here? A county manager wanted to prove he was good at his job. He sees an old building in the state, or in the Stark, and is trying to get and prove that he's doing his job. He finds someone that needs the building, which was the aerospace company. Okay, we're gonna put this deal together, we're gonna take and try to make money for Bradford County. He goes and he says, okay, let's take and get this building that was on the market. It ran for 4 to 5 years. After it was closed, everyone passed on it. Well, they passed on it because it was a polluted piece of property. Okay, so, they take and, get the property anyway, because the county manager didn't do his due diligence because of the, should have known about the contamination, okay? And, I'm sorry, okay, so here we are, we got a building that the people who said they were gonna take the building are no longer gonna take it because they proved that the building was contaminated. They had vapors coming up into the building and the land was contaminated. Okay, so we lost the contract of the possible aerospace company coming in. So it sits there empty, and then all of a sudden, here we got Bradford County's own Wizard of Oz, Gordon Smith. He tells the story of the yellow brick road. He will turn it into a concentration camp, but it'll be about the pollution, the county says. Oh, we don't care about the pollution. We'll make lots of money. And we will stick our heads in the sand. The proof, here is proof of corruption.
Thank you. Next, we will have Elder Ophelia Hines.
My name is Elder Ophelia Bright Hines. My address is 5012 Northwest 182nd Way. And I'm opposed to the ICE detention center being in Starks, Florida. First of all, we have more than our share of confinement facilities in this area. Secondly, it will do more harm than good. A burden to the cost of its operation for both the city and the county. Many offenders relocate to our community after being released from incarceration. This caused our small community to be noticeable in population for ex-offenders within it, making us unattractive for growth and mobility, not to mention a high risk for criminal activity. I strongly urge you to deny this proposal for further consideration. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we'll have Paul Steele.
Just hand it to me, I'll pass it down.
Paul Still, 14167 Southwest 101st Avenue, Stark. I would urge you to not consider leasing the Douglas building site to the Bradford County Sheriff's Office at this time. What is needed is some form of progress report from SABO. Work on the proposal by county staff should stop until DEP has completed its testing and remediation of the site. I do not believe Sheriff Smith and his staff have the expertise to address site contamination issues. A second critical concern is sewer and water services to the proposed ICE detention facility. As of March 31st, 26th, the city of Stark had not been provided the information needed to determine what upgrades to their system would be needed, what the potential cost would be, or how long it would take to add any new infrastructure. It would be difficult to operate a facility for 3,000 detainees without a sewer hookup. My concerns about Sheriff Smith's department increased significantly after Sheriff Smith's comments of the last two commission meetings and receiving the emails he sent in response to my emails to the commissioners. You heard Sheriff Smith's commission meeting comments and received the email replies he sent. Sheriff Smith's verbal and written comments tended not to address the issues being raised, but instead attack the motives of the people who were raising the issues. Sheriff Smith said at the March 3rd, 2006 commission meeting, the county spent over, I think it was $25,000 for the last study that we got on a grant. That's out there with DEP. DEP people have been spoken to and dealt with. I believe the report Sheriff Smith was referencing was a June 8, 2003 geotechnical engineering report. That report did not address environmental contamination. Understanding the difference between a geotechnical report and the type of documents that would lead to a proper environmental steps is critical in the prevention of environmental damage and county liability. The January 16, 2006 DEP document and the DEP consent agenda item do not seem to support the claim that DEP people have been spoken with and dealt with. I have attached a list of questions I believe need to be addressed before any proposal is drafted. If Sabot is not willing to address the questions at no cost to the county, it may be time to end the attempt to use the Douglas Building property as an ICE detention facility and stop wasting county resources. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, Rhonda Strong.
Good morning. My name is Vianna Strong. Post Office Box 530, Lottie. My concern isn't with ICE this morning. My concern is with my property taxes, school taxes, and such. I have been diligently looking over what the county does with my money. And I am not feeling as though I'm getting what I'm paying for. So therefore, I am concerned if the legislature takes away property taxes, what is going to happen? What is the county going to do with my services that I have been receiving? Right now, I pay school taxes for children, and I don't have any children in school. I personally feel like I should get my money back because I haven't had a child in school, but that's neither here nor there. Personally, I feel like I should get my money back. I feel like that I shouldn't pay as many taxes into the system as I do because I don't have any children in school. But I see that I'm paying and many other people are paying for Swanee River water. What are we paying for? Why do we pay this county money into the Swanee River water? We're paying for water in the ground. Yes, but I pay the city of Lottie for water in the ground also. Are we being double taxed? Yeah, we're being double taxed. A lot of times we're being double taxed. We're paying for services twice. Why do we continue to pay these taxes? Nobody knows. Nobody can answer any of these questions. We pay for a lot of double services. I pay for trash to go to the landfill, but then I also pay for the same service in the city of Lottie. I pay for double services. Nobody can tell me why I continue to pay for these double services and I don't get double service, but I pay for them. And we pay these double fees, and we don't get the double services.
Thank you. Next, we'll have Jenna Talita.
Commissioners. My name is Jenna Toledo, and I live at 22186 Northwest 70th Avenue in Stark. I'm here today because I believe this vote on the detention center will say more about who we are as a community than any other decision you will make on this board. Throughout history, laws that were widely accepted were later realized to be deeply harmful, like when only men could vote, or when Jim Crow laws separated people based on their skin colors, or when other countries rounded up and detained large groups of people because of fear-mongering. The people enforcing those laws later said, "I was just doing as I was told," an argument that has failed again and again in court and in the eyes of history. History does not remember those people fondly. They had the power to say no and choose otherwise. Right now, you are the people with that power in Bradford County. I'm asking you to measure this decision against the same conscience that tells you those chapters were a mistake, and not to create a new chapter in history where the world questions our morality. How do you want Bradford to be seen to the world? As a town of people with strong values of faith, freedom, and family, or one that punishes thousands who believe in the same but are simply from another country? You know, the promised jobs are tied to federal contracts and political moods that can change faster than any of us can vote. When those winds shift, the people making those promises today will move on. The building will still be here, the reputation will still be here, and the responsibility for saying yes will still have your names on it. You were elected because people here believed you are grounded, thoughtful, and strong enough to make hard choices. This is exactly the kind of moment that tests whether those words are just part of a campaign speech or part of your character. So I ask you, respectfully but plainly, when you hold this vote in your hands, does this detention center truly match the kind of leaders you believe you are and how you want to be remembered? Does it match how Bradford wants to be seen? If it does not, then please vote no, not because you lack strength, but because you're willing to use your strengths to live up to your personal standards. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Kate Ellison.
Kate Ellison, 971 Southeast 32nd Way, Melrose, Florida. Stark has worked hard to develop a reputation as a wholesome, forward-looking, family-friendly town, to move away from being known just as a prison town, even as executions still take place. This new, extremely visible prison, as you drive into Stark, will destroy all the rehabilitation efforts we've made. Visitors from Hawthorne, Gainesville, Ocala, and drivers stopping on the way to Jacksonville will see the barbed wire, floodlights all day and night, military transport, and rows of law enforcement vehicles, blue lights flashing. More prisoners will be released onto our streets. This is not what Stark needs, not for visitors, businesses, or residents. Before there is any development on this property, the toxins must be removed. We cannot offer people prison jobs that will knowingly expose them to elevated cancer risks. Not to mention prisoners' exposures, it is premature to make an agreement with the sheriff's office, not knowing exactly what contaminants will be found and how long it will take to remove them. Our sheriff is committed to a detention center with a 3-year lease, and he says he's not in a rush. He cannot get started until remediation is complete, so there is really no need for a lease with him at this time. That lease will foreclose other opportunities for development. Are there other land use options? Shouldn't we be sure no one wants to build a new warehouse, local enterprise or industry, or maybe even some housing before we are locked into bringing even more human misery and suffering into our town? The cost analysis report by Scott Belford warns that the county could be exposed to some genuinely disastrous cost overruns. I strongly urge you to review that document before you take any steps towards such a financially risky venture. You are looking for income, but you will be spending more on this than you bring in, especially as we look at decreased revenue the next few years. We cannot afford extra expenses. The Sheriff's Department has had auditing challenges. A 3,000-bed detention center is another whole order of magnitude larger for financial tracking, on top of all the police work and housing issues to be managed. It will be nothing like the 200-bed facility that he currently oversees. Finally, I have a signed petition to give you from county residents and landowners who don't want the detention center here. We will continue to collect signatures after today, but felt it important to show you that opposition to this idea is widespread throughout the county.
Thank you. Next, we will have Kristen Rubin.
Kristen Rubin, 26280 Northwest 206 Place, High Springs, Florida. I am representing the Sierra Club Swanee St. John's Group Executive Committee. We respectfully ask you to consider a few questions as you evaluate any proposal to authorize the sheriff to negotiate the placement of an ICE detention center in the Douglas warehouse. First, given the known and potential environmental concerns associated with that site, how will the county ensure that all environmental risks are fully and independently assessed before any negotiations move forward? And who will ultimately be accountable if unforeseen environmental liabilities arise years down the line? Second, is it in the best interest of Bradford County to delegate negotiation authority on a matter of this magnitude to an office that may have a direct operational or financial interest in the outcome? How can the public be assured that decisions are being made objectively without any perceived or actual conflict of interest? Third, what safeguards would be in place to ensure transparency throughout the negotiation process? If authority is delegated, how will the commission and the public remain fully informed and able to provide input before any commitments are made? Fourth, once negotiations begin, what mechanisms would allow the county to pause or withdraw if environmental, financial, or community impacts prove greater than anticipated? Are we confident that the county would retain full control over that process? And finally, does delegating this responsibility align with the commissioner's role as the body elected to exercise independent oversight on behalf of the people of Bradford County? These are not easy questions, but they are important ones. Taking the time to carefully consider them can help ensure that any decision made reflects transparency, accountability, and the long-term well-being of our community. Thank you again for your time, your service, and your thoughtful consideration.
Thank you. The next one looks like, and I'm not sure, it looks like a Kylie Simba. Next, Josh Cooper.
Sorry, I'm Kyla Simwell.
Okay, sorry. Thank you.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
I'm Kyla Simwell from 3800 Southwest 20th Avenue in Gainesville, Florida. I'm here today to oppose the construction of an ICE detention center right at the entrance of Stark. Other speakers today and in previous meetings have brought up the immense economic, medical, and ecological burdens that this facility would put on the city. But today, I would like to mention the strain it would put on the communities surrounding it. In Gainesville, the University of Florida and Santa Fe College, without the approval of their student bodies, have both voluntarily signed 287G agreements with ICE, allowing their police forces to question and detain students or citizens they suspect of being undocumented. If you add up the number of international students who currently study at UF and Santa Fe, you would get a population of over 6,000 people, a population that rivals that of Stark's. 6,000 people who are living in fear because the sheriff and commissioners of Bradford County are still debating whether they want to create a detention center that would put them in danger by increasing the number of ICE officers who would profile, harass, and unnecessarily detain them. Not only would students be in danger, but so would our immigrant and international professors, faculty, and student workers. Hardworking people who keep our campuses running and provide me and my fellow students with the knowledge we need to enter the workforce in the future. Do these same people not deserve a safe learning environment? Do they not deserve to come to Stark and experience the Southern hospitality, the close-knit community, and the strawberries that it's known for? If this facility is built, Stark will only be known for detaining, policing, and profiling. That is why I have come here today, along with others in this room, to oppose the construction of this detention center. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, Josh look like Cooper.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
Josh Cooper, 300 Southwest 20th Avenue, Gainesville, Florida. Today I want the public's questions regarding this center to be stated loud and clear. These are budget elements which have yet to be addressed to any meaningful degree, either by the Commission, the Sheriff, Sable Consulting, or DHS. The current cost recovery amount is slated at around $200,000 monthly. Considering all cost elements related to this project, it would require more than $400,000 just to consider not exceeding the budget. I asked them, has the Commission considered costs relating to emergency medical services and the attributed strain on the current services, strain on the baseline public health interactions between the facility and the community at large, environmental and sanitation interface concerns, and how that might strain Stark locally, wastewater strain on the locale for an already strained wastewater system, administrative increases against the current proposal offered by Sable in January. I do hope that the Commission has been properly consulted regarding these issues and has had numerous discussions with Sabo and the Sheriff regarding this proposal so that you can come to the best conclusion with all of the given information. The Sheriff continues to charge that this site would include and would bring in influx of income. Would the BOCC still be oversight? It would still have oversight over the property, or would they just let it be given to the sheriff once it's leased to him now? These are all economic questions and arguments that can be pressed against the site. There has been very little information given to the people of Stark, given to the people of Bradford County that actually gives any real information regarding this site. Right now, all we have really is one presentation given in January by Sabo, and we have one economic assessment done by Belford, which isn't even public knowledge. It's been given to you and not to the public. So how can the public work with this information? How can the public make any decision regarding this or make any kind of complaints regarding this topic if no one has any access to the information? Does the Commission have any access to the information besides for these things? Have they talked to Sable? Have they talked to the Sheriff? How much of this can we be sure that you know what you're doing on? And also, if we're going to lease the site to the Sheriff, I mean, we haven't even let DEP step foot on the property yet. How is it that we can even consider leasing the site to the Sheriff if the property hasn't even been evaluated environmentally yet? These are all things that I feel like we should push forward and press forward. Anyways, okay, I rest my time. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we'll have Haley Hall.
Hello, my name is Haley Hall, 23478 US 129 O'Brien, Florida. So coming to you today from Suwannee County, specifically that's Bradford. We get confused for Bradford County a lot, but no, we're Bradford. So you all may or may not have realized when you woke up this morning that this is a legacy moment for you. Potentially more so than anything else. I don't know that for sure, but this is undoubtedly a very big legacy moment for each of you. And I ask you to consider the comments made before me regarding the environmental concerns and the impact on the community, but also the stigma. The impact just of people talking about Stark, just about people talking about this community, this detention center and this community. And I think we might even get some of that stigma over in Bradford just because we sound like Bradford. So please consider the stigma associated with this detention center. So I want to quote a letter here from the Swanee Riverkeeper. I see him up in the front over here. So, increasing the population by about 50% in a detention center would stress the local sewage system and directly detract from community and local business growth capacity, leading to rate increases and fees associated with waste management. So I would like to submit a specific question into the public record regarding your wastewater plant's capacity and how it will be affected by this detention center. I understand that when wastewater plants reach 70% capacity, they have to pay for very expensive upgrades. And so how is this going to feed into that? And then who is going to pay for it? And that's going to be your local taxpayers, and they're going to see rate increases too. And so how much specifically is this going to impact the capacity? And you think about 70% capacity, you think about 100% capacity. Stark has had wastewater spills in the past. The growth you're seeing from this detention center is directly taking away other potential growth for the community. Local business growth, housing growth, other opportunities. It is directly taking away from that, and it is the community that has to take the tax burden and the ratepayers that have to are burdened with that rate increase. And so please, I want to reiterate that it is absolutely critical that we obtain the FDEP environmental studies. We need to make sure that those are completed, and we need to, in the meantime, explore other options for this facility, other options for this land. Please think about your legacy, deny this facility.
Thank you. Next, we'll have Caitlin Adele.
Hello, I'm Caitlin Cadell. I live at 17044 Southwest State Road 45 in Archer. I'm against the ICE detention facility. There's no guarantee that they will pay back the money in a timely manner, if at all, as they have not for Alligator Alcatraz. How do you develop the town when you're giving so many resources to this detention center? The money should be sent to spent helping to improve the town and improve people's lives. The Trump term will end soon, and a new term will start. And this city is still going to have so many of its eggs in this detention center basket for decades to come. The Trump term is almost over, and I think it's foolish to spend so much money and resources on, the times are changing, I guess, is my point. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. And next, it looks like Josh Palmer. You're Palmer.
Good morning. I've been listening to all the speakers, and they've made all the points I'd like to make.
Can you please state your name and address and so forth?
Yes, thank you. My name is Josie Parmar, and I'm a resident of Gainesville, Florida. I've been here 20 plus years, and I'm an immigrant. And I just want to add this thing, because I did tell my story the last time I was here a couple of months ago. We were recruited. My father was recruited to come to the U.S. to help the steel plants here because he was an expert at what he does. When we talk about immigrants, I'd like for you all to consider that all of us are living in fear for our lives because we happen to live near where you're considering a detention facility. And many of us are just members of the community doing everything we do legally, lawfully, and actually with great passion, because we gave up everything that we had to come adopt this country, and this is a place we embrace with all of our hearts. And to have y'all kick us in the face is really painful. So, having said that, I'd like to just ask you all to consider this one other thing. What is your vision for Stark? I know all the points have been made about the DEP, about the contamination, about what happens when people leave the existing prison facilities. And I'd like for y'all to just think about this has become your brand now. This is a prison town. And I know over the last 20 years, you have been moving away from that. And Stark has become a place where I come to. I used to come to the Strawberry Festival. Now I'm thinking, do we want to come to the Strawberry Festival here? What else is here in Stark other than, jails and jails and jails? So please, when you are making this decision, a couple of things to keep in mind. All of the facilities that you commit to building a facility, this detention concentration camp here, have an opportunity cost to you. You will have to build the capacity because from what I've seen, Bradford does not have the capacity to serve this a facility of this size. You'll have to build the capacity and that'll commit you to that capacity for this location. And 3,000 beds, a detention center with 3,000 beds would be actually the equivalent of 1,300 residential units. And residents who are free and living in the community using the same amount of facilities will be actually driving an economy, whereas here you would have a 3-year term with people in jail and people around them with guns who are trained to kill others who open carry. How many people in Bradford pack? I mean, I come from a border town, we carry guns. And your people are not going to be safe.
Thank you. Next we'll have Diane Emporio. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Diane D'Imperio. I live at 7024 Southwest 97th Lane in Gainesville. And even though I live in Alachua County, I spent over 25 years working in a program that included Bradford and other rural counties in north central Florida. So I have a lot of sympathy for rural counties and the economic challenges that you face. And I understand very much the temptation to sign a contract with the federal government that would provide a lot of good, well-paying jobs with benefits. So I really get that. But I would like you to think about, there have been a lot of good points brought up, but I just want to bring up a different one, is that if you think about the firing of Christy Nome, I think that that represents a major policy rethink on the part of the administration. And I think that they're realizing that the American voters don't like what they're seeing in the immigration activity that the government is supporting. And there's been pretty much a lot of distinct messaging in the last couple weeks about the tactics are going to be changing. It's not going to be quite so aggressive. So one can conclude there may not be as many detainees, and there will not be as great a need for detention centers. So I think looking at the next, say, 6 to 8 months between now and the elections, and then virtually the first of the year, there's really not it wouldn't, in my opinion, make sense to sign a contract for a detention center that may or may not be needed, may or may not have the number of detainees that were originally projected, and therefore would not warrant the number of jobs or the amount of money that they're projecting or that you were hoping for. So I think that's an important sort of new aspect to the situation. And then if you postpone this decision, it gives you more time to address some of the other issues that have been brought up today. And I think even though other people have brought this up, I'm just going to reiterate that we have a lot of experience here in Florida where we've had agreements with the federal government to put out our money to pay for detention centers being built and being run, and then the federal government hasn't been paying us for what they promised. And so definitely Bradford County, I can't say I'm familiar with your budgets, but I mean, I've been around rural counties for a long time, and I know you can't afford to risk the kinds of millions of dollars it would take to put this facility up and pay for the staff. So at the very least, I strongly suggest that you would negotiate, if you do negotiate a contract, that is not cost reimbursement. I know the feds love that, but you need to get the money up front, or I'm afraid, based on the experience that Florida's had, you won't make the call.
Okay, next we'll have Marcus Bradford.
Good morning. I'm Marcus Brinker. My address is 7956 Plantation Lakes Drive, Port St. Lucie. I ask, why does this commission believe that ongoing conversations with Sabbath and DHS concerning the future of the Douglas warehouse should be had with the sheriff in secret rather than here, publicly, where stakeholders and residents can participate and make their voices heard? Bradford County residents have far fewer levers of public pressure against the sheriff than they do the county commission. And I suspect this is part of the reason why this commission wishes to lease the warehouse to the sheriff. The sheriff and this commission continues to assure that the process to move forward with any type of agreement with DHS and Sabbath is a slow and deliberate one. This is a deliberate strategy to lull any and all opposition to the proposed detention facility. Once the sheriff's office is in control of the warehouse, they will quickly be able to move forward with the deal under the noses of Bradford's residents. The sheriff assures the commission and Bradford that the entire project would be by the books. How are Bradford's residents meant to hold the sheriff to this? How are they meant to hold him accountable? How are they meant to participate and make their voices heard when their local leaders are discussing removing themselves from the decision-making process concerning this warehouse? I implore this commission to make a commitment to transparency and continue to involve the people of Bradford and other stakeholders in decisions that deeply affect their lives. I yield the rest of my time.
Thank you. Next we'll have Ethan Maya de Nadell.
Hello, my name is Ethan Maya Denidell, a concerned Floridian from Gainesville, Florida, speaking on the proposed warehouse detention facility at Douglas Warehouse. Like most others speaking out, I am imploring you all to not move forward with this proposal. The vast majority of those who would fill such a concentration camp are, as Sheriff Grady Judd, the lead sheriff appointed by DeSantis to the Florida State Board of Immigration Enforcement, put it. These people are adding to the American dream, enjoying the American dream, that came here illegally, but they're doing good and they're not a drag on society, and in fact are helping society. The proposed county-run facilities for 3,000 beds, expanding the population of Stark by 50%. Who is actually going to fill these beds? How is the county expecting to provide sewage, electricity, medical care, and more for all those people while maintaining and building the infrastructure supporting your actual residents? We can look at other similar facilities that are also run by the counties, Glades and Baker. Both have been mired with story after story of human rights abuses, much having to do with the lack of those critical resources. And keep in mind that those facilities hold less than 500 each and have still gained notoriety nationally. Not only that, but a report on the Glades Detention Center showed that the facility did not contribute to the local economy or jobs, as revenue went to out-of-county bondholders and many jobs went to out-of-county private security firms. In fact, the report shows that the county has actually had to subsidize the facility as the number of detainees fluctuate year after year, administration after administration. If comments like those from Sheriff Judd are any indication, what is the long-term risk for building such a facility here? We already know that the consulting firm Sabbath is looking to subcontract with the out-of-county private firm Garda World to fill many of the required security and logistical positions. forgetting that Garter World is a security firm responsible for Alligator Alcatraz, which in the first few months of its opening has also had reports of human rights abuses, including torture. How will any aspect of the building or running of a Douglas detention warehouse benefit Bradford residents? I ask you all again to please reject the proposed warehouse detention center in Stark. Thank you all.
Thank you. Next, Ryan Harris.
Okay, Ron Harris, 626 Southwest 78th Lane. Standing before you again because despite meeting after meeting and unanimous public opposition, this proposal remains on the table. But the latest development, the request for the commission to lease this facility to the sheriff so he can in turn host ICE, adds a dangerous new layer to this conversation. We have seen the same thing at every single one of these meetings. Not a single resident has stood up in favor of this project, yet we find ourselves here again with the sheriff pushing for a lease agreement that the rest of the community is actively fighting against. And he has pitted himself directly against the very citizens he has sworn to protect. Make no mistake, if the commission signs this lease, you're inviting a permanent disruptive presence into the heart of this town. This facility will become a regional flashpoint for constant demonstrations. This isn't a theory, it's a guarantee. There will be many people in this room that will be at the protest. And many more will travel from all over the region to take part. To understand the scale of unrest possible, one only needs to look at the footage from Minneapolis. This is the energy and scale of unrest that will be brought to our doorstep. These kind of protests make their point through agitation and disruption. That is the nature of the movement. When that level of friction exists, things escalate quickly. History shows us that these clashes can turn deadly, sometimes resulting in questionable murders during chaos. Is this commission prepared to be the ones who signed the lease that led to the loss of life on our streets? Are you prepared for the national media circus and the permanent strain that would leave on Bradford County? When law enforcement is forced into these high-tension environments, overreacts happen and rights are violated. By leasing this facility to the sheriff for this purpose, you are essentially opening a lawsuit factory. The result will be a wave of expensive, high-profile litigation and long-lasting legal consequences for every officer involved. You are being asked to sign a lease that will drain the county's coffers and ruin lives. The financial and human cost of defending these actions in court is a burden the taxpayer simply cannot afford. Finally, we can't ignore the site itself. We're talking about a warehouse with documented groundwater contamination, volatile organic compounds that are already migrating to nearby properties. This is a small town. The disruption, the legal exposure, potential for tragedy being invited here is entirely avoidable. I ask the commission to listen to the unanimous voice of the community sitting in this room, not the isolated push of one department head, and vote no on this lease. Do not sign away the peace and safety of this county. Thank you.
Thank you. And the last card I have is from Stephen Shangle. Shargell. Thank you.
Stephen Shargell, 1946, Southeast State Road 21, Bradford County, right on Lake Santa Fe. I moved there in 1980 when my taxes were $300 a year. I love it there. My neighbors love it there. We have such, Florida theater comes to mind. I mean, preserving what we've got. Well, somebody mentioned vision here. As a chiropractor since 1980, I saw people. We learned in chiropractic school that there's 3 types of things that cause disease. And right up there is toxins. and I just looked up trichloroethylene, volatile toxic industrial solvent known to cause kidney cancer, liver cancer, and lymphoma. I bet you all know loved ones, friends. You can't enjoy Florida Theater, the Oak Tree, when you got cancer. It's there. Chiropractic in my office was built not on putting money, because it's a moneymaker. It was built on, my mom told me, you take care of the folks and you'll do fine. We've got here in Stark a beautiful thing to build on. That's the vision. That'll give me and you the right decision. It's obvious. Thank you.
Thank you. And I want to express my appreciation for the respectful manner in which you all conducted yourself. We're going to move on to the agenda item on the consent agenda, but before we do, I have asked our county manager if he could just elaborate on one of the items, that's item G, for us on the site assessment agreement with Florida Department of Environment Protection. And Mr. Carnegie, if you would just allow. Go ahead.
Yes, Madam Chairman, thank you. This agreement is an extension of the current agreement. We currently have an agreement with the DEP where they have unfettered access to the property. This agreement would expand that to allow them access no matter who rents or leases the property.
Thank you very much. Okay. At this time, asking for a motion for approval of the consent agenda. Is there a motion for approval?
Yes, I make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Motion by Commissioner Reddick. Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Doherty. Any further questions or discussion? If not, all in favor by the sign aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? 5-0. Thank you. At this time, we will have a presentation, Partnership for Strong Families. Our director is Amanda DeMaria.
Hello, Amanda is not here today, but I'm Brianna Peterson representing Partnership for Strong Families. I know that we proposed a proclamation for April as Child Abuse Prevention Month. And I just want to emphasize the importance of schools and government leaders. I'm sorry, I was really emotional from all that. The role of schools and government leaders that can equip caregivers with tools and resources to protect our local children. It's important that child abuse is addressed by supporting families and caregivers first, from things like harm reduction for substance misuse to access to job resources, and that the community surround all caregivers with compassion and respect so that families can best care for their children. And then we have the proclamation, right?
Yes.
All right,
Okay.
yeah. Thanks for having us.
Okay. You want to stay there? Stay there. I'm putting you on the spot.
No, it's okay.
I'll read the proclamation here. The Board of County Commissioners of Bradford County, Florida, proclamation declaring April 2026 as Child Abuse Prevention Month. Whereas prevention is possible with the right policies and investments, families and children can thrive and avoid contact with child welfare. And whereas every family and child is filled with tremendous promise, and we have a collective responsibility to prevent child abuse, fostering potential of every child, and promote a positive childhood. And whereas families who receive the support they need before a crisis occurs are better equipped to provide safe, healthy, and nurturing environments, leading to children who are safer, healthier, and more helpful about their families. And whereas childhood trauma, including abuse and neglect, can have long-term psychological, emotional, physical effect upon the individual's lifetime and impact future generation. And whereas effective child abuse prevention activities succeeds because of the partnership created between child welfare professionals, education, health, community, and faith-based organizations, businesses, law enforcement agencies, and families. And whereas communities must make every effort to promote programs and activities that create strong and thriving children and families, and whereas we acknowledge that we must work together as a community to increase awareness about child abuse and contribute to promoting the social and emotional well-being of children and families in a safe, stable, and nurturing environment. And whereas prevention remains the best defense for our children and families, now therefore, our board chair of the Bradford County Board of County Commissioners do hereby proclaim April 2026 as Child Abuse Prevention Month in Bradford County and urge all citizens to recognize this month by dictating ourselves to the task of improving the quality of life for all children and families. Together, we can create a community where every child can grow up happy, healthy, and safe, and with hope for the future. Signed by Chair, myself, Carolyn Spooner. Thank you. All right, and the board, we heard the proclamation and I ask for motion approval of this proclamation.
I make a motion to approve the proclamation as read.
Proclamation approval by Commissioner Reddy. Motion?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Doherty. Any questions or further discussion? If not, all in favor by the sign aye?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, 5-0.
Thank you so much for having us.
And thank you all for being here. All right. Now, next we'll have a presentation from our Clay County Commissioner, Betsy Condon from Clay County. Let's give her a warm welcome and thank you for being here.
Good morning, Madam Chair and fellow commissioners. Thank you for letting me come and spend a few minutes with you this morning. I was talking with your county manager just a few weeks ago and thought that it would be important to update you on a project that affects Bradford County as well as Clay that we've been working on. I know the county manager has briefed you all on this, but just for the sake of the public, as you know, if you read the Bradford Telegraph like I do and the Lake Region Monitor, the St. Johns River Water Management District, in partnership with the state of Florida, recently last year completed the Black Creek Water Restoration Project for aquifer restoration. But one of the goals of that was also surface water recreation for the lakes in Keystone Heights, primarily Lake Brooklyn and Lake Geneva that are in the Edinaya chain of lakes. And so then when we were getting ready for water to come through, and at that time last year, water was pretty high in Lake Brooklyn, it became pretty evident that we were going to get water into Lake Geneva a little bit faster than we thought. And of course, that's not true today in the drought situation we find ourselves in, but it will happen. The water restoration project is fully functional, ready to go as soon as there is significant rainfall. And so, in conjunction with Save Our Lakes, Clay County Board of County Commissioners set out to restore the Lake Geneva lake bed to the point that it could hold water as a lake bed should, instead of being a forest that had been there for 30 to 40 years. And one of the things that we had discussed is that the trees that were there, mature trees, would be a safety issue if they fell and were under the water surface for recreation, but also didn't necessarily provide the water quality that we wanted to see in the lakes that had been there previously. We obtained with the graciousness of our state delegation, one of which we share with you, Senator Jennifer Bradley, last year, we got $250,000 in a state appropriation to put towards the project. Clay County Board of County Commissioners has put just under $300,000 into the project. Save Our Lakes put in a donation of, I believe it was $25,000, as well as the city of Keystone Heights at $40,000. And so the project is fully funded. It has five lobes. I don't know if they've shown you a map, but has five sections that we are removing trees. That project is currently in progress, but we haven't reached the Bradford County part yet. So the Bradford County is the smallest. It's 3 acres, but it connects the 7th lobe to Lake Geneva. And so I wanted to come and share that with you, that we are using it. I wanted to also let you know that A significant part of the Clay County money that we've put into that has come from our tourist development tax dollars. And our tourism manager said that he felt like that was one of the purest uses of tourism dollars that we could use, because Lake Geneva was known for its fishing as well as other water sports destinations. As you probably know, Keystone Heights has hosted the motocross and other jet ski kind of competitions in the past, and will continue to do that. And so it offers also an opportunity for Bradford County tourism. You have the closest hotels to Keystone Heights, and as well as some of your other things, gas stations and restaurants and things like that. Certainly you also have our only grocery store currently, for anyone that shops there. And so I just wanted to come and share that with you, share it for the public. I would like to offer you the opportunity to participate in it. When we finish the project, we'd like to have you come out, do some photo ops, and let your constituents know that that this is now available to connect that 7th lobe, the far western lobe of Lake Geneva, over into the big lake, if you will. And I can answer any questions that you all have, but I wanted to come and share it with you. I apologize for not coming sooner and before we actually started the project, but we haven't finished it. The part in Bradford County, we can't fully fund cutting the trees and removing them from there, so we're going to cut and do what's called cut and stack, and then they'll have volunteers that can go in and remove some of that timber as well. We're cutting any tree that's over 4 inches in diameter and only up to the high water mark. 102.9 feet is the high water mark for Lake Geneva. So all of the work is being done on the sovereign submerged lands that is state property under a permit that Clay County obtained. So the work in Bradford can be done under that permit because Clay obtained it.
Commissioner Condon, we really appreciate you coming and sharing this project. Our legislators look at our counties working together collectively on projects and projects such as this. And as we have with the airport, it impacts both Bradford and Clay areas. And I believe that our next item will have some impact on the process and project that you're having. But we all benefit from the use of the lakes in the Keystone area, as well as you guys, ours in Bradford County. But we appreciate you coming and sharing that presentation. Any questions anyone has for her? If not, thank you so very kindly.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next is the action item for the Keystone Collection Site, the air burner purchase, and I believe you will share more details on how that will work.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chairman. So the ask is for a capital improvement item that would replace the current approved item of a bucket truck. This air burner incinerator would cost $213,000. The bucket truck is roughly $300,000, so there would be some initial savings there by switching those purchases. The other benefit is that this air burner will pay for itself within months because of the amount of debris that we currently have at the Speedville collection site. Currently we have to load that, haul it over to the landfill. It's very, very costly to do that, plus the wear and tear on our equipment. So there would be immediate savings by burning the 320 plus tons of debris that we already have. Now, to Commissioner Condon's request, what we could also do, if it's the board's pleasure, is offer an in-kind service to Clay County to come over to the Bradford County property that she mentioned, Area 5. And once the trees there have been cut and piled up, we could come in with our incinerator and burn that for them, thereby saving, Commissioner Condon, I don't know what the dollar amount is. I know you were given a tiered amount for removal of the trees and hauling them off, and then removal of the trees and stacking them, and then removal of the trees and burning them. So whatever the difference in that cost would be is what the in-kind contribution would be from Bradford County to assist with this Lake Geneva project.
Okay.
And I can answer any questions if you have.
And it looks like it'll be a cost saving all around for now and in the future.
Yes, ma'am. Our Public Works Director, Mr. Dodds, is in Orlando at the Public Works Annual Conference this week, so he couldn't be here. But I had tasked him previously at trying to identify ways to save money in that particular area, and he found this option of purchasing this incinerator that seems to be a really good financial arrangement for the county.
Can I ask a question? Have they seen one work on site?
In person, I don't think so. Of course, there's tons of information on the internet where you can see them and read about them and that sort of thing, but I don't believe they've traveled anywhere to investigate it.
I haven't seen it personally, but I've seen what is used for the cremation. It works something like that. I mean, that's the only visual I can think of, but it incinerates those particles, those boards, those logs, or whatever you have burned, and there is nothing that goes out into the atmosphere that will cause any pollution. So that's the good thing about it. And it will be a tremendous cost saving, because when I think about all of those piles and piles and piles of tree branches that we have to haul away, that would be a tremendous cost saving.
Yes, ma'am. It would also be a great benefit during storms.
Yes.
When we collect additional debris, rather than hauling it off. Our site at Speedville is a FEMA-approved collection site, so we would actually be able to incinerate that debris and then get reimbursed through FEMA for that action.
Or any questions that you have?
And one other thing I'd mention, a description, the best way to describe it is it looks very similar to a 20-foot shipping container, if you're familiar with a shipping container.
Any other questions regarding the equipment? If not, do I have a motion for approval for the purchase?
I just want to add to the clerk's comment. I know you see them on a lot of construction sites, and so I have seen them in operation. But as far as any other questions you might have about it, it's just certainly more effective than hauling debris. But again, like I said, and I think that. I see Mr. Douglas back there. I don't know if you all use them on your sites or not, but have seen them, in operation on construction sites to, keep from hauling, and also, I think it also helps prevent the, kind of the smoke from, getting into the roadways and causing visual issues.
Any other comments or questions?
So, Madam Chairman, the motion would be to replace the current CIP item, the grapple truck, with the air curtain incinerator for this year, and then approval of the purchase.
Okay. Do I have a motion for the requested?
Make a motion to approve.
Okay. And Rachel, you need to so state that.
I'll
Okay.
if that's y'all's motion.
All right. Motion for approval by Commissioner Doherty. Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Andrews. Any further discussion or questions? All in favor, sign aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? 5-0.
And then one other request, Madam Chair, is just a consensus from the board, recognizing that we would participate in the Lake Geneva project by incinerating the debris that is produced in Area 5 of the Lake Geneva project.
I think it's a reasonable request and a good partnership there. Yes. What's the consensus of the board? They concur.
Thank you, ma'am. That's all I have.
All right. Now, next is the discussion on the Douglas Building property options.
Yes, ma'am. So before you have two items for discussion. Item A is the potential lease with the Bradford County Sheriff's Office for the purpose of installation of a temporary ICE detention facility. And option B is other lease or marketing options. What I'd like to do initially is ask our county agent, Marty Shaw, to come up and briefly explain a letter of intent that was received last week.
Good morning. Marty Shaw, 415 East Call Street, Stark. Last week we received an offer from a local business, a manufacturing concern, OM Imports. They've been here in Stark about 10 years producing granite for the area. They have an interest in expanding their operations in the tune of an industrial park. It's all back off 44th Street, and it's contiguous to the Douglas property. So our thought is that we might be able to enter into a lease agreement with the county for the Douglas building, and then expand that operation to include the Douglas property with marketing and eventually, hopefully, additional development opportunities. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Also, I guess I'll have a question for our attorney and our county manager. So if we're, for example, agreed to a lease with you, that would not prohibit us from mitigating the property in terms of any contamination, and maybe but there's funding available for any improvements to it, so it would not impede that. I think that's what my question is to the legal side.
So in terms of mediation, the county would have no reason to go in and construct anything if we were to lease it to this particular manufacturer. It would be incumbent upon him to face whatever mitigation challenges he came across. What was the other part of your question? I'm sorry.
So if it's on the lease, would we make improvements to it, or be allowed to make improvements?
Well, okay, so, yes. So we haven't hammered out a lease, right? So we don't know what the specifics would be, but the whatever amount was agreed upon as a yearly amount, staff's recommendation would probably be that amount go into a fund that is not accessible for anything other than improvements to that property. And then, of course, along the way, the person that ends up leasing or renting, whatever the case may be, would have the option of making improvements on his own, which is ideally what we hope for. Did I characterize that right, Mark?
You did. Over the last 3 years, we really haven't had a chance to do any marketing of the property at all. So this would be a chance for us to go in, I say us, me as the marketing agent, but OM Granite supporting the project, and basically put it out there into the marketplace to everybody worldwide through the commercial platforms that we have, and just see what we can catch. I understand Commissioner Doherty has maybe a prospect as well, agricultural use, and I just think that we have not explored other options for this property properly. So this would be a chance for us to spend somebody else's money to do all the marketing, and y'all would get to see the results and approve of whatever the alternative uses would be going forward.
Madam Chair, okay. Marty, aren't we held to ensure that anyone that was going to lease that property make sure that they understand the toxins and what has happened there?
Oh, absolutely. We would disclose any and all reports that are available, the continuing monitoring tests that are being done. I think there's probably some contamination out there. I think the reports would indicate that, and we're going to have to address that with anybody that uses the property.
And I think it's important for everyone to know DEP does come out and make regular checks on that property.
Yes, ma'am. They have unfettered access to the property, and the sheriff and I have seen them out there a number of times over the past few years, taking samples from the monitoring wells and so forth.
And that's been going on since the discovery of the toxin.
That's correct, yes, ma'am.
Just so people are aware, because someone said that DEP isn't allowed out there. That's not true. They do test out there regularly. So just so people are aware of that. And like I said, I would not ever want to not be transparent with someone that would put a lease on that property. So
Yes, ma'am, particularly when it gets into building new buildings and stuff, because then you're going to disturb the soil. So yeah, we would be very careful with it, very.
You know, and our initial intent was for it to be an industrial site, which opens it up for lots of business attraction. So if it were leased, and of course with transparency, then it may be opportunities for that property to be improved, to be used for that purpose as an industrial park, so that we can draw the businesses
Well, and you've probably been aware over the years of the issues with the building. Fire suppression, no water and sewer services. There's just a lot of hurdles. I mean, the building was built in the 60s, late 50s, early 60s, and it's greatly not to code, for lack of a better term. So we would have to address all those things. But I think without at least pursuing the opportunity, I think we're getting a little short-sighted.
And I know sometimes our residents, our community think we don't listen, but we do.
Yes, ma'am.
And we take to heart what is said. But the other thing is looking really deeply at the future of that area and what it could be used for. And there's lots of potential for that, and I think it's worthy to be explored.
Well, I think in addition to what OM is already doing off of 44th Street, I mean, he's 100% occupied back there. And if he can continue to attract businesses to 44th Street, imagine what the opportunity would be if we could offer the entire Douglas property. And he's got some contacts, and he's got control of various companies around, basically around the world. He's not here today because he's traveling down to South America recruiting businesses. So I think we have an opportunity. I just don't know what it is and how long it'll take to get there.
Certainly worth exploring. I don't know, thoughts from others.
Yeah, I agree. I would rather go this route and have you explore other opportunities than the other option we were presented. But that's, we'd definitely like to see us go that route. And give you the opportunity to turn it into something great.
We'd limit it to a 3-year deal. That way, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But we paid the county, I think in our proposal now on the tables, we would pay the county $50,000 a year to basically master lease the entire property. And then that way y'all have a revenue stream, as Scott said, to use for other uses. But I just think, I don't know, I think there's an opportunity there. We just need to explore it.
Madam Chair, I again, and I have been approached by somebody, and just as you have, and just as the sheriff has, I don't think anything's set in stone right now.
No.
And so I just say that we keep all options open, and we explore. Certainly, if there's a bird in the hand, better than two in the bush. And we look at kind of moving forward that way. So.
Well, I'd like to learn more about what you've got going so that we can see if we can work together on it.
It's a thought, and it's so at this time there's really nothing other than a conversation, and that's it. So
okay. Well, I did submit a letter of intent for y'all's review, together with additional information in the packet.
Okay. Mr. Cunningham, I would certainly be interested in us exploring it more and looking at what is being proposed, because when you think about it, we're not getting anything out of the building as it stands, and if it were occupied by detention, we wouldn't get anything out of it either. But let's explore, let's be open to other options, and let's do that.
And if I may, there's lots of reports from the DEP about the toxins out there that are floating around that people have, and they say different things. So I think that we need to be very transparent and make sure that the latest facts of what DEP is saying about the property and what can be done and what can't be done out there is shared with the constituents. So everyone knows the up-to-date version of what DEP is saying. Okay?
Yes, ma'am. Madam Chair, I just want to make sure I was clear too when I said all options.
Yeah.
That would include the detention facility as well. So that's all options, whether it's an option that Mr. Shaw is bringing or whether the person I'm talking to, potentially has an interest in doing something that would be open to all options.
Any other comments, thoughts? Okay.
So, Madam Chairman, the consensus is what Commissioner Doherty just articulated, to move forward and explore all options.
Explore all options.
Okay, excellent, thank you.
Thank you very much.
The clerk's report.
I really don't have anything. I have some stuff for the budget meeting in a little while, but Rachel has a few housekeeping notes to tell the board about.
Thank you, Clerk. Madam Chair, Board. At this time, I'm looking for the board to present any recommendations you have of a citizen member to serve on the Value Adjustment Board, discuss those options, and then appoint a member. I brought that to you during the last couple of meetings and just wanted to ask, have you all had an opportunity to find any interested folks who'd be willing to serve?
I found one, but it fell through.
It fell through, okay. So if there's no one to appoint at this meeting, we can try again at the end of, give ourselves a couple more meetings because it's something I will have to have a member serve on the Value Adjustment Board. Our first meeting of the VAB will be in August for the organizational meeting, so there is time. But as you know, sometimes so I just wanted to give you plenty of time to be talking. And maybe with the county manager's help, something could be advertised, maybe on the website, that we're looking for a citizen member to serve on the VAB, and maybe we can
Yes,
get some
ma'am. We'll
interest.
certainly do that.
The next item that just want to bring to your attention, it's notice of lands available for taxes. We had a tax deed sale in the clerk's office that the bidder didn't pay the necessary fees within the 30-day deadline. When that happens, we have to put this on a list called lands available for taxes. And within the first 90 days, we have that on the list, and the county has the opportunity, if it wishes, to purchase that land at the opening bid amount plus any applicable taxes and interest, or it can waive its right to purchase that land. But statutorily, I have to bring that to your attention, give you the opportunity to make a decision on whether you want to purchase the lands or you want to waive your right. I did email you a little while back, the package of the lands, the parcel number. And so at this time, just looking for some discussion and direction from you all on whether you want to. And the parcel in question, just for the record, and just so I can state in here, on December 17th, 2025, our office conducted a tax deed sale on parcel 01195-0-00000. The bidder failed to pay the amounts due within the 30-day deadline. When that happens, our office must enter the land on a list entitled Lands Available for Taxes, and within 90 days, the county may purchase the land for the opening bid plus applicable taxes and interest, or waive its right to purchase the property. With that said, how would the board like to proceed?
I guess I have to see where it is. I couldn't really tell from that little map.
It's right behind the Desert Isle Inn that burnt down in Loney on 125.
Okay.
It's old Cornwall property. 3.4 acres.
And the
Old house on it.
deadline, the 90-day deadline is April 7th, 16th, so which is why I'm putting it on the agenda before you today. And sent it to you out a little earlier so you'd have time to look at the property, if you so wish.
That's pretty wide state that burned down. The old St. Pierre.
Right behind Desert Isle is the Cornwall place.
Okay. So I'm going to take a look at it.
Madam Chair, if I might say, as far as the county, I don't know that it would be anything of interest to the county. And I think that it should be something that, if it's a tax deed sale or whatever it is, I think we have properties scattered around the county. And every time we have something like that that comes up, there's certain requirements for that property, whether it be ADA accessible or whatever it is, and then there's certainly a cost associated with all of that happening. So that would be my recommendation, that we move forward with a tax deed sale.
Just waive your right.
Just to waive the rights, okay.
So, Mr. Carnegie, have you had a chance to look at it, to see it?
No, ma'am. I have not.
Mr. Clerk?
In your opinion, is it worthy of,
I think there's like $8,800 owed on it,
Okay.
plus back taxes. I think plus the interest. But it's just gonna sit there in perpetuity until somebody comes up and finally says, it's gonna go on this list. And then somebody can come up and say, you know, I want to buy it, then they're going to have to pay the additional interest. The amount's gonna keep growing.
And it is a buyer beware. You know, I don't have any details on the property as far as what you would be inheriting. It's totally buyer beware. And that's what we have to indicate to anybody when they decide that they're interested in purchasing a property.
Okay. But from what you can visually see without having inspected it, it's not really something we...
I wouldn't want it.
That's what I wanted to hear. That's what I was hearing.
That's what I was trying to tell you, Miss Spooner.
He just came straight out and said it. So I would be in favor of just saying to waive it and let it go for public.
I agree. That the consensus of the board? It sounds like it is. Thank you. That's all I have, Madam Chair.
All right. Anything else? We don't have anything from the sheriff. Anybody representing?
So I would mention, Madam Chair, that you do have the sheriff's annual report in front of you on the dais. He was called away and not able to be here today, but he did submit that report.
Okay. All right. And I'll continue a conversation with the sheriff too, but just looking at, I don't know, the number of accidents that we continue to have in certain key areas of our community off of 227 and 301, Highway 100, the 21B, to look at these areas to see if they can't do a study or have Department of Transportation in those jurisdictions of theirs to see why, what are the whys.
Can I comment on that?
Yeah.
I've seen several accidents, 227.
Yes.
Bunch. One of my best friend's wife got in an accident there, and I told her for months after they put that red light up, I said, stop and make sure that the cars stop before you pull out in there. And people run that yellow light or red light, and they can't stop at semi or camper or whatever it is, and they just go right through there. I don't know if a white beacon light or something over the lights or something just bring people's attention to that light. But I sit there and watch people after the light. My light turns green coming on the 301. Sometimes I watch 2 or 3 cars both directions going by after the light turns green. But that's the big cause of it, people rushing to get out there.
And I've seen the same thing on our bypass near the Walmarts, a lot of near miss by those large trucks, and just makes me cringe, but perhaps if he can continue to
Yes, ma'am, I'll have a conversation with him.
And our manager's reports.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Madam Chair. The first thing we want to do is something we're very excited about. Yesterday was our new Planning and Zoning Director's first day. Her name is Bernadette Fisher, and she is here with us this morning. And I would like to introduce her to the board and to the public. Bernadette, if you want to come up to the podium there and introduce yourself to the board, that would be great.
Good morning.
Morning.
I'm Bernadette Fisher, as you've been told. And I'm happy to be here with the county and looking forward to helping with making things as fair as possible.
Want to share a little bit about your background, where you worked before or any of that?
Sure.
A little bit.
I originally started as a planner working with government, and then I decided to then pursue working in the private sector. And in recent times, I decided instead of doing work for government to actually work for government. So that's what I pretty much, and I've done a lot of work on the west coast of the state and in other states as well.
Well, welcome aboard.
Thank you.
I know Ms. Alicia would be happy to have you.
Yes, I am.
I just want to add, talking to Mr. Cornegay, understand that there's a lot of things that you have experience with that we've been subbing out to our consultants. And so I understand that you'll be able to take those on, so that'll certainly be a cost savings to the county, and we appreciate that. And so that's we look forward to it. Thank you.
Thank you. Look forward to working with you, and thank you for coming to our little town. And if there's any way we can help you, we're always here to help.
I appreciate that. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
The next thing, Madam Chair, a legislative update. Don't really have a whole lot to say other than, I know April 20th, they go back to address the redistricting issue. Other than that, we have no indication of when they'll reconvene to address the property tax issues and the budget and everything else that is still on the table. So just to be clear, nothing has been funded. There's no appropriation that has been guaranteed or otherwise approved. Everything is still up in the air. So, and we don't find out about the final budget until mid-June, when, of course, the governor has a chance to review it and make his changes. So hopefully we'll be on track for mid-June. I don't know that will be the case, but that's what we're hoping for.
All right.
That's all I have, Madam Chair. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Our county attorney,
Nothing to report.
commissioners.
Sorry. I just wanted to mention, there was one of our citizens that passed away, Cindy Fudge. We like to refer to her as an eternal cheerleader because she was a huge supporter of all sports in Bradford County. She was there every game, yelling and screaming and trying to get everybody else to support the team. They were going to have a service for her on Friday night at the football field. And just want to let you know, keep her family, her husband Steve Fudge, in your prayers. Just a very sad time. Also, I want to send out a special thanks to our fire and rescue. I don't know how many times his phone has went off since he sat down and since we started this meeting. Those people work so hard, and it's constantly, and like Ms. Booner said, with all the accidents and the fires and everything else that they do, when you see them, just tell them thank you. That means a lot to them. It goes a long ways. And they give a lot. They really do. And also, Miss Berry, you brought up a road, so I'm going to bring up a road out by Fast Track, Mr. Cornegay. If we can remember, if we can get DOT to finish what should have been finished when they completed that and put Fast Track in, the turning lanes and stuff right there, because of course it does bottleneck on 301 and it causes a lot of problems there.
Yes, ma'am.
And thank you for coming. Thank you for voicing your opinions. And like Ms. Booner said, it may appear that, I hear it all the time, you've made up your minds already, you no need, but that's not the case. We have questions in our mind. This is a difficult situation. It's a very hard decision. And we want to make sure that we do the right thing. I'm a cancer survivor. I understand when someone mentioned that earlier. Nobody wants to do that. We want to do the right thing. That's why we're here. It's not for any other reason. We don't make a lot of money. Lord knows we don't make a lot of money. But we do the best we can. And we care about people in this county. We are the people in this county. So just bear with us as we work through this. And just know it does mean a lot for you to come and give your opinions. So thank you for being here.
Yeah, I'd like to echo on what Commissioner introduced. Thank each one of y'all for coming. That shows us y'all show interest in the county. So thank y'all for coming. And I'd like to welcome Miss Fisher on board. We need you. And thank the Lord for this little shower we got.
Sure, okay. I'll go ahead. Alicia, thank you. Are you still here? She left, okay. Want to thank Alicia for filling in until we hired Miss Fisher. So thank you for her work and for having to answer the phone for several different offices over there. We really appreciate that. Also want to remember Gretchen that works over at the jail. Her and her family, they lost their house to a house fire a couple of days ago, and it's got to be really tough. I know losing everything, but fortunately there were no lives lost. Again, the fire department was responsive and saving a structure that was right next to it. I mean, right next to it. So anyway, just keep her in your prayers. And there are options out there that we have been hearing about, and certainly. We did have some interest with MHD Rockland prior. I don't think any promises were ever made. It was just something that they were interested in. And again, if there's interest in it, then, we certainly want to see it. But I think that the sheriff and the county has done everything they can to put it out there to make sure that, there are some opportunities to, either lease or sell that property. So anyway, that's all I have. Thank you.
And I too want to thank everyone for being here today. Thank you all so much for all your comments. Really do appreciate that. And it's really cool. We just read that proclamation on the strong families. Well, I just want to give you an update. We've got 240 kids playing baseball, softball, Edwards Road. 19 teams. We had our opening day. It was fantastic. I wish I could sit here and name everyone that participated, but city, county, TDC, everybody came together. Our fire department, Ben, actually emceed the whole thing, and it was very, very good to see all those kids out there. Awesome. But so and then this past Saturday, what was really cool, we had I want to make the right wording. I would guess you would call them special needs or autistic children. They came out. We got them uniforms. We had our older girls softball team on the field, kind of playing with and against them. It was fantastic. There was teenagers out there helping those kids. Unbelievable the amount of people that was there supporting this. And it's hard to describe unless you was there. If you see an autistic child that would never have the opportunity to play ball, be out there playing ball. It was great how they walked them around the field, or it was fantastic. That's all. It just really, really good. And so anyway, we're continue to move forward with the sports, and then also very important this last weekend. We celebrated Easter Sunday, the birth of our Savior, or resurrection of our Savior. And, and again, that's what sets Christianity apart from any other religion. Jesus was dead, burial, and resurrection. And he's alive and well and seated in heaven by the right hand of Father God. So anyway, if you don't know the story or about it, I recommend you get a Bible and read it. Anyway, but thank you so much again for everything, and that's all I got to say.
Again, I just wanted to commend you and to thank you all for the respectful manner and the conduct that you showed today, and then you have throughout our meetings. And we do want to hear from you, and we do listen, despite it appearing to you sometimes that we don't, but we do, and we do care. I want to impart to you the importance of adhering to the burn ban. When someone starts a backyard fire, that impacts anybody in the surrounding areas. Even when it's a controlled burn, it can get out of hand. People who have respiratory issues, You know, when it spreads, you suffer. But I just can't import to you how important it is to adhere to it. And Mr. Carnegie, I want to fuss at the forestry department too, because they can issue a fire permit for you to burn. But under those conditions that we're under right now, I wish that they would make sure that every preventable structures are in place, because even if you get a permit and it's supposed to be controlled, it can get out of hand. And think about those firefighters, those people who are out there putting their lives on the line to protect us. It puts them at risk as well. So adhere to it until we got enough rain to take care of the drought that we're experiencing. So I can't say that enough.
Madam Chairman, may I add? May I add to that? So the burn ban obviously is still in effect, and it will remain in effect despite the little bit of rain we've gotten over the last 24 hours. Every Monday, the fire chief and I meet along with the Department of Forestry and Captain Witt with Emergency Management, and we make a determination based on the fire weather forecast and some other data that we have on whether or not to extend. It's done on a weekly basis. By ordinance, we can only extend the burn ban by 7 days. So we do that every Monday. So to your point, the burn ban is still in place. We will take another look at it on Monday and make a determination whether or not to extend it.
Thank you. And again, I'm happy that we are looking at some alternatives for the Douglas building, and it is my hope and my hope that it will be an industrial park that can be used by the community in our future, and that it also offers us the opportunity to get that property cleaned up as well, so that it'll be safe for anyone who might have it. We have a budget workshop coming up next, and so with that, again, I thank everyone for being here.
Madam Chair, if I may suggest we take a 10-minute break.
Okay.
And why don't we say we'll reconvene at 11:45.
All right, and just before that, our next meeting is going to be April 16th. We'll have our commissioner meeting on May 5th, and also our next budget workshop after that is May the 21st. And the commission meeting on the 21st of May. Okay, we will convene back shortly. Thank you.